Hey guys, welcome back. I'm about to get into part two of measuring SEO success in 2021. In the first video, we talked about the old way of doing SEO, which is inefficient and outdated, and we just got into the new way of doing SEO, which helps improve efficiency, improve outputs of your agency or internal team, and overall drives better results long term more sustainably. So we're just about to get into slide 9 here. We just checked in and saw we overviewed how you currently track your SEO results and why it's important to ask questions. So moving forward here, just to recap, it's the same table that we had before. Um, just a couple tips that I've learned kind of along the way that have helped me identify what works and what doesn't quickly. Point number one here, you want to timestamp every change to each URL that could make an organic impact. So for e-commerce sites, this could be maybe you're changing banner images, maybe you're changing homepage sliders that went to a category page which was running a promotion. Maybe you're updating content on a page. Maybe you're adding in schema or structured data. All of those changes, the first thing you got to do is timestamp them. You need to know when you changed them and when they went live on your website. Because if a algorithm update comes and you have to backtrack and see what maybe techniques or practices that you were implementing didn't work, this could quickly help you identify that. Also, in pre-post performance results, if you notice during monthly reporting, you notice your website traffic's down 30%, you can backtrack and see what changes that you made recently that could have contributed towards that Google may not have thought were right for its users. Second thing is you want to make sure you write a description. If this is post implementation, you want to write a description of what was changed. If this is pre-implementation, so if it's a strategy or a suggestion that you believe will improve organic traffic, you want to write a hypothesis as to why you believe that's going to happen. So that when you get to testing and implementing these changes, you can observe afterwards whether or not your hypothesis was correct or if it was wrong. The third thing here is apply changes to just more than one page. Google has quite a few, from what we've seen, Google has quite a few parameters put in place to skew similar results. Not only that, there's so many factors that could skew results. Even if you're applying the same tactic to, let's just say 10 pages, those pages could have different authoritative presences on Google. They could have different anchor text percentages. They could have different internal links. The competition could be making changes exactly at the same time. So without a group of pages, it's very difficult to rule one tactic or strategy successful or unsuccessful without doing batch changes. So you're looking for an overall improvement across the batch, not specific improvements across individual pages. The last thing here is to analyze pre-post results. This is very important in SEO. You want to know if the changes that you're making or suggested changes that you're making to your website are making a positive improvement, or if they're not making a positive improvement. And then also what the extent of that positive improvement is. Are you taking pages from page 2 to page 1, or are you taking pages from position 5 to position 2? There's a very big difference there, and it's critical that you keep track of the pre-post results of all of the changes that you make. So in this next example, I'm going to show you why this works so well. SEO, as I mentioned kind of in the last video, it's very easy for it to get very convoluted with the amount of tactics and techniques and all of the moving parts, especially if you have a large internal team all working on your site simultaneously. The water can get pretty murky or muddy very quickly. And these changes can get buried, and it's very difficult to identify the changes that you're making, both from a paid perspective as much as an organic perspective, what is driving results. So in the 50-50 rule here, let's say you have one agency allocating 160 hours towards your SEO per month, or maybe this is an internal employee. We split it right down the middle of tactics that are working, tactics that aren't working. These can be bucketed into the same workflow. So this person could be providing 160 hours worth of effort, but there's 80 hours of effort that aren't working. There are tactics that aren't working, but maybe you're still climbing. You could still be gaining in this phase, especially if you're not on page one yet. You could still be gaining traffic. Maybe it's 20%, maybe it's 100%. So things could be working, but there's wasted output. Now, here's the real benefit of building an efficient SEO strategy from the ground up, where you're continually progressing and evolving your SEO strategy through our new SEO best practices. Back on slide 9, we talked about that. This is a 75-25 rule, so it's a pretty big difference. You get a full week's worth of hours every month out of this person. So that's 3 months every year that you're increasing your output. So 3 months of your SEO budget is going to be added as value when you start to implement this type of SEO efficiency in your strategy. It's very effective in reducing waste, improving efficiency. Overall gains are going to be more sustainable, and you're just going to maximize the output of your current resources. This is very helpful, especially if you're having difficulty getting an increased budget, or if you have a limited budget to work with. This is critical to implement. So this is what I call the compound effect. Utilizing this strategy across multiple sites, let's just say we have 7 SEOs all working on different accounts. They're working on different sites. They're all logging the changes that they're making. If you have an internal team, you can visualize your org chart just like this. If each person is logging, timestamping, and describing what they're changing on the website, eventually over time, you create this map of everything that worked to the highest degree and everything that didn't work to the lowest degree. So it's pretty easy from there, just through deduction, looking at, okay, here's everything that we're going to keep moving forward this month. Here's everything that we're going to cut. We're not going to do that anymore. And this can be as simple as writing new content. It could be more efficient to update existing content. It could be improving your user experience. So maybe you need to shift some resources into user experience and design. It could be focusing on pages that have shown improvements in revenue versus pages that have shown improvements in traffic. There's a lot of information that this is going to unveil for you to make better decisions overall for your marketing. Now, the last thing here is just how it works. So looking at measuring pre and post performance, I just want to recap. First thing you're going to do is collect data. So analyze what sources you're going to utilize to determine whether or not a strategy worked. Most often than not, this is going to be either Google Analytics or Google Search Console. Maybe it's like a rank tracking tool like Ahrefs or something like that. The next thing you're going to do is formulate your strategy. So your strategy is going to be a mixture of your personal knowledge of what's worked best for you in the past with SEO, or sites similar to the site that you're working on. Or maybe this is your agency's best guess as to what's going to work with your site. Third thing is you're going to create your hypotheses and suggested changes. So you're going to lay out which tests and changes that you're going to make to which pages and why. Step 4, you're going to launch those changes. In step 5, you're going to measure the pre-post results. Now, measuring pre-post results, this can differ by site and traffic as well. Sometimes you'll notice immediate results, like changing canonical URLs is pretty quick. We've noticed we typically have results within a week, whereas changing, like doing a full on-page update, like title, meta description, content bolstering, like where we're adding additional content, or maybe we're adding in content to rank for people also ask. This can take several months. So understanding how much you're implementing and when to measure the pre-post results is going to come with time if you don't have someone who's familiar with this approach working on your website. And step 6, pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to scale and win. So you're going to measure these results each month. You're going to take note of them, look at what's worked, and you're going to move forward with those strategies. Obviously, first with the tactics that are driving the highest amount of results, either organic traffic or organic revenue or organic leads, whatever's most important to you or your target KPIs. And the last thing there is you're going to discontinue anything that's not working. So that's it for video 2, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.